Come on in. All right. So this session is about the Windows Store. My name is Ted Dworkin. I lead the program management team that's responsible for the store in Windows 8. And of course, I'm incredibly proud of the work that the team back at Microsoft has invested to bring this feature into the system. And I really look forward to spending the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes with you describing the opportunity that's there for you as developers. Now, I started my career at Microsoft 17 years ago. I started 17 years ago as of about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I passed my 17-year anniversary. And I started on a project called Encarta. And in fact, I ran into a couple of old colleagues that are here from my Encarta days. Maybe you were familiar with the multimedia encyclopedia that we created back in 1993. And I started working on that in 1994. And it was this sort of gem of a reference product with thousands of assets, media and article content. In 1997, we introduced a feature called Encarta Update. And it was a yearbook feature that allowed us to bring fresh information down to the encyclopedia. And of course, it was through dial-up. This was before ubiquitous broadband. But if there was a new leader elected, a new political entity that was established, a new achievement in the arts or sciences or literature or sports, we would go ahead and craft that information editorially and deliver it down to customers. And I started in Windows about 10 years ago. And most of my career in Windows has been taking advantage of rich front-end clients connected to a set of powerful services that connect to a back-end with a rich schema, and finding increasingly interesting ways and increasingly scalable ways to create that relationship between these catalogs and the front ends in which customers experience them. And of course, the store, if nothing else, is a rich publishing enterprise. And it has some unique attributes associated with it that we'll spend the next hour describing. Of course, this is where we are today. Your machines today that you got last night, and you tap on the store tile and it says coming soon. Why? If you went to Jensen Harris's talk yesterday, he said, well, it's really about the fact that we're waiting for your apps. And we really want the focus of this developer preview timeframe to be about your app creation, your coming to understand the new platform, the new app model, the technology choices that are available to you, the tooling that supports it, the services that integrate. And we didn't want to create a race condition where you were rushing for submission, trying to be first in line for submission. That might have given us possibly, if we did our jobs well in describing the opportunity, we might have gotten a sort of PR bump or moment out of that. But it's not really the point. The point is to give you time to get ready. And when you're ready, we're ready. When you're ready with your apps, we're ready. And so that will come in the near future. Now, of course, we reserve the right to go ahead and have that PR moment if indeed, when we do open for submission, you folks come storming forward. But it's not the point of this developer preview timeframe. And this is where we're headed. We're headed to a place where we have an integrated, rich consumer experience, end-user customer experience in Windows 8 available in every Windows 8 PC that will ship, a tap away in the start screen, and your apps take center stage. Your apps are the focus, and the entire experience is designed to promote your applications in a way that gets you the most customers with the least amount of effort on behalf of those customers and the least amount of effort on behalf of you as developers. This is where we're headed. We'll spend the next 45 minutes or so walking through our approach, and I'll just focus on 2 precepts there, 2 key principles that drove our design and development of the store. It's important context and backing for you. We'll spend some time talking about the size of your opportunity, try to dimensionalize it for you. We gave a peek at the user experience in the keynote. We'll do that again here and spend a little more time looking at the user experience. And we'll look not just at the end user experience within Windows, but also your experience as developers as part of the submission process. And finally, I'll make sure that you're clear on what you can do today with our SDK and with our tools to begin preparing your app for certification. Okay? So we're going to spend time today describing the store's capabilities. We'll talk about the opportunity that it presents to you. but we're not going to spend time on the specific store policies and the specific business terms. We, of course, know just how crucial these are to you, and we will describe them in great concrete detail with very clear and transparent communication that lets you know exactly what to expect when you work with us in this partnership. But this developer preview time is not the time frame to set business terms and specific store policies. And the store policies are going to make sense to you when you see them. You will nod and say, there's a lot of common sense here. Now, we also know there's a lot of gray in the judgment around policy and appropriateness of apps. And again, having worked on Encarta many years ago, there was a lot of content in there that, as objective as we tried to be, there was a certain perspective that was brought to bear on that content. And depending on where you were, your locale, your education, you might have a perspective on that. So we're well aware of the challenge that we face in entering into this partnership with you, but we're prepared for that. Okay? So we're going to talk about our approach, store capabilities, the size of the opportunity that's there for you, and at the point that we're ready for submission, that's the point at which you will understand what the specific business terms and store policies are. Okay? So let's talk about the first precept, the first driving principle behind our store development and design. We're going to spend a lot of this time this week talking about a reimagined user experience and a reimagined platform. The store represents a reimagined partnership. And it builds on a multi-year tradition that Microsoft has had of investing in developers, in our platform and in our tooling. So this is not news in and of itself that the store is about investing in developers and developer opportunity. But we're adding new dimension to it. What are the dimensions that we're adding? Application certification, application promotion, application delivery and acquisition, transaction services behind it, the servicing or updating of those applications, and feedback and telemetry that helps you understand how your app is doing in the store, what the qualitative experience your customers are having with that app, and intelligence that's going to help you make decisions about the servicing of that app or the next app or business opportunity you might decide to create through your Metro-style app. The partnership now has new dimension with direct software discovery, acquisition, servicing, feedback, and telemetry. And we're going to enter into this partnership with you with the full backing of Microsoft and with the full scale of Windows, with the goal of letting you do business at Windows scale. The goal is to let you do business at Windows scale. Okay? So a reimagined partnership. And we share a lot of common goals. We have goals around customer delight, goals around customer loyalty. With the store service, we're going to share a common goal around operational efficiency and effectiveness. For you, you're going to care about the least amount of friction in how you get from your app idea to a customer's interest in that app and acquisition of that app. The least amount of friction. You're going to want efficiency and effectiveness in that process when you engage with us. And of course, we're going to care about operational efficiency and effectiveness because we're running this thing against hundreds of millions of desktops. So we're going to care about that together. And of course, we both share a belief in the relevance of a strong developer ecosystem. We both care and have a mutual interest in the strong viability and vibrancy of a developer ecosystem. We want to help you grow your brand. We want to help you reach customers. We want to help you to establish and grow your business. And we're going to give you some choices. Aspects of this partnership will allow you some significant choices, primarily around the way that you will do business with your customers. Windows provides choices. What are some of those choices? We have a rich set of transaction services that you can call today in the SDK. In-app purchase is supported and trial is supported. We strongly encourage you to use them. They're available in the tools. They're easy to get to. They're fully documented, and they're ready to go. And in fact, tomorrow, there's a session at 9 in the morning that will tell you exactly how to wire up your app. But we do not require this. We will not require you to use our transaction services. If you have an existing transaction model, if you use an existing shopping cart, if you've built your own, as long as your AppX package, as long as your Metro-style app conforms to the technical standards of the packaging and has integrity at the packaging level, your transaction service can flow through. We will not prohibit that. We will give you choice. You, of course, will retain pricing control. That's a decision you get to make. You will select your price tier. Another example of flexibility. You can make a decision about what ad control you're going to put in your app. Microsoft will have a first-party offering that is significant, We will strongly encourage you to use that first-party offering. It will be industry competitive, industry leading in certain dimensions. But you don't have to use it. You get to make that choice. You decide the way in which you want to conduct business through your app. You're in control of that relationship with your customer. We respect that. Windows is about choice. This partnership respects that choice. Okay? Hey, somebody clapped. I'll take it. First clap. I was hoping to get one at Encarta, but that's okay. I'll take this one. All right. Second key precept, confidence. We think about a couple of different dimensions of this. Certainly, end-user customer confidence, and there are a number of ways in which the design of the store reinforces that, and I'll spend time on that during the demo. But for the next few minutes, let's talk about developer confidence. Let's talk about the work we're doing and the kind of relationship we want to have in this partnership to inspire your developer confidence. Well, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to ensure that the Windows 8 store is the only place that Metro-style apps can be distributed. We will be the only store for distribution of Metro-style apps. We will support developer sideloading. We understand that you need to prepare your app and that you need to share that app with others so they can provide feedback. We will support developer sideloading. We have an enterprise story that supports their unique needs, but fundamentally, the Windows Store is the only place that Metro-style apps can be acquired. Okay? Now we can ensure a set of standards. We can ensure that the system works in a cohesive way, that it works in a reliable way. We can ensure the quality of the catalog. And you care about that so that your apps sit side by folks that have made a similar investment and care as much about the quality of their software as you do. And of course, our shared end-user customers care about that a lot too, so they're confident in the experience of using the store. They're confident in the experience of consideration and acquisition of that software. When we talk about developer confidence, we try to instantiate it in the form of these concepts. Curation and protection. We will examine every application that's submitted to us. We are going to invest significantly in an examination of every application. And there'll be three parts to our examination process. The first is technical certification. You have an incredible amount of control there, and I'll describe that in a few minutes. The second is the anti-malware and antivirus check that we're going to provide. And this is just about ensuring the app is secure. We will run a virus check and a malware check on every application. You should expect us to do that. We will run that service. The third is content appropriateness. And of course, this is probably where the guidelines are going to be most significant. But there's a lot of common sense behind these guidelines. You will nod your head and say, I certainly understand it. When you're targeting hundreds of millions of devices and a global audience, we need to take responsibility for content appropriateness, including the trickiness and challenge of interpreting that on behalf of an incredible diversity of opinion. We will take responsibility for that. It's crucial to our confidence promise. Technical certification, security checks for virus and malware, and content appropriateness. We will curate and protect. Curation also allows us to do promotion of applications. That's a service we will provide to help grow your business, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. Consistency and predictability. Capriciousness is the enemy here. If you cannot accurately understand the way in which we're going to be interpreting and applying standards, it's going to make it very difficult for you to do a great job of building your app and targeting it for submission and getting it through the certification process. We understand that. We understand that kind of friction that gets created if it's unpredictable the way the standards are being applied or if standards are being published in an unpredictable manner. We will be transparent. We will engineer the process and the relationship with you to provide as much transparency as we possibly can. When we integrate the store services into the tooling and into the system and into the platform, it can help you be assured of the robustness of what we're creating. It can help you be assured of the size of the commitment that we're making. And we'll return to the sort of scope or dimension of the commitment in a minute. But when we integrate, you can be assured that this is a system-supported service, robust, powerful, performant, secure, reliable. And integration is key to assuring you that this system is well thought through and well considered from start to finish. Flexibility gives you confidence that you're in control. I mentioned a number of the flexibility options in the introduction to this slide. Flexibility lets you know we're in this with you, we're in this together, and we're not going to be presumptuous in areas that are crucial for you and your decision making about the way you're going to drive value and customer relationship. Flexibility helps you understand that we're sharing this responsibility for you and not presuming in ways that are crucial to you. And finally, you need to see our commitment. You need to know that investing in these new technologies and in this platform and investing in submission and distribution of your intellectual property, your innovation, and your creativity will be well regarded by Microsoft. We need a trust relationship around this software. And you need to see our commitment shine through in the way we engage, in the way we communicate with you, in the way we iterate and evolve the service over time based on feedback that we get both from end user customers and from you about what you need in order to be more effective in doing business. More effective in acquiring customers, retaining them, achieving brand recognition and brand loyalty. So we're committed. Reimagined partnership and confidence is fundamental to that partnership. The size of the business opportunity. The size of the business opportunity. We start with the momentum that's created with Windows 7. Approaching 450 million licenses sold in less than 2 years, 1 billion desktops running some version of Windows in some locale, the most prevalent operating system on the planet, the most diverse number of devices running that operating system, the greatest diversity of customer base, the most usage scenarios, all available for your consideration to target with great software and services. That's momentum. That is momentum. And then you add a reimagined user experience to create customer demand and customer appeal. You add a new application model that allows you choice in the technologies that you decide to bring forward into Win 8, that allows you to carry forward the investment you've made in learning technologies historically and create new application forms in the system using those technologies and that knowledge, and new chipset targeting, and a ton of work in the system so that new form factors can be created and new devices, and the greatest range of devices yet to be invented, will then get created and run Windows 8 and delight customers. That's on top of the Windows 7 momentum. And then we add integrated software promotion, discovery, acquisition, servicing, and data to help you understand how to take advantage of it. Right in the system, very visible, and the apps are seamlessly acquired in the system in ways that customers will learn to trust immediately. What's the size of the opportunity? Very, 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 very large. Steve Ballmer this morning talked about the fact that by the time Windows 8 ships, 500 million devices will already be capable of running Windows 8. 500 million devices are already Windows 8 candidates. And that's before the Windows 8 device family starts going out and generating new demand. Last year alone, Microsoft and its partners generated $520 billion of revenue across software, services, and hardware. That was last year alone. It doesn't, and we know that Windows, by the way, is at the center of that economic engine. And so you don't have to be a math major. You don't have to be the math major that many of you probably are to figure out the multipliers. You don't need to do calculus to understand what multipliers can operate here to take your app from a reasonable price in a system deployed to hundreds of millions to create value for you and value for customers at a scale that was not possible before the store service became integrated into the platform. Our goal is to extend the economic opportunity to as many of you developers as possible, and by more orders of magnitude grow the number of developers that get to directly participate in that economic opportunity. And we believe that we have the system to do that, and what's missing is your innovation and creativity in a direct delivery method right in the system, and we're going to provide that. I want to spend a little time on the user experience now. We set up the context around the precepts that drove our design and decision, the type of relationship and partnership, the sort of joint opportunity and accountability, and the targetable base that's out there for you. The customer experience, we'll go to a demo in a second. The customer experience takes advantage of many of the Metro style design principles that we've talked about yesterday and on the stage at the main keynote. And the store application itself is largely HTML and JavaScript that takes advantage of the number of controls that are in the platform that are available to you as well. But the goal with the store is a simple and straightforward user experience that exposes as much of your application content to as many users as possible and reduces the path those users have from curiosity or directed intent to consideration, acquisition, and usage of that app. Reduce the amount of layers and friction between a customer's consideration of an app and their acquisition and usage of that app. So let's switch over and spend some time looking at this. All right, here's the store. And it's fast and fluid. Thank you very much. Fast and fluid. Now, this is right at the start screen. The store will be a prominent tile, but you saw yesterday we're going to give users choice. Okay? So, of course, by default, it's going to come up in a location maybe like this, similar like this, but the user will have a choice. And we expect users to tap. And when they do, the store will launch. And it'll launch into this experience. There's a landing page environment. Okay? And by touching the screen, you can just simply pan back and forth easily. The landing page environment has a number of sections. There's a Spotlight section and a set of categories. The Spotlight section is our opportunity to do editorial curation and promotion on your behalf. We're aware of the economic opportunity that's contained right within a section that prominent, within a store that's prominent, in a platform that's prevalent. We know what the economic value is here. The economic value will not be given to partners that pay Microsoft money. Okay? This is about great applications for customers. How are we going to make choices as Microsoft about what we're going to promote here? Apps that do a great job on the platform and apps that delight customers. That's it. Apps that do a great job on the platform and apps that delight customers are featured in this area. And of course, we'll do the job of locale-specific and calendar awareness. We'll rotate this and expose as much opportunity as possible to as many developers. All right, I'll take it. Within the Spotlight section, if I tap here, we have an opportunity to promote individual apps. We also have the opportunity to promote lists of apps. We can use themes to promote apps. We can use timely events to promote apps. This is just more real estate, one tap away, that allows us to collect apps that might drive customer interest and acquisition and use it for promotion. Now, you'll notice every app in our store today is either $8 for Windows 8 or free. And that was really just to reinforce that you're in control of that pricing. So we didn't try to sort of gin up prices that might make you try to guess what our pricing structure will be. We will have price tiers. They will make sense to you. You will select those price tiers. You will decide if you're going to do free with in-app purchase. Oh, did we lose one? Are we going to do free with in-app purchase, or you're going to do price, or you're going to do trial? Those will be choices that you make. So we have the opportunity within the Spotlight or anywhere in the store to create a topic page that allows us to promote more applications. We, of course, will have the list that you've come to expect that will help users understand what's popular. The system will generate these lists. We will have categories that collect similar apps. Let's take a look at a category layout. We've designed this to expose as much content as we can without creating a cognitive overload that allow users to browse in a way that's both delightful but also gets them enough information to pique their interest. But these are your surface areas. You're providing these assets. This is your opportunity within the store to establish your app. Now, this particular control is the list view control. It's available to you. It's in the platform. We used it for the store. In fact, the landing page and the panning there, that's the list view control. That control is available to you. You see the ratings exposed here. Ratings control is available in the system to you. We used it as well. We'll, of course, have a set of filters. We've tried to make sure that we have filters that are powerful operators, but we're not going to have long lists of filtering that confuse customers about where they are in the store anatomy. We want to make this thing as simple as possible to get customers to the app listing pages. Let's click on Labyrinth, a fantastic game written by an intern on our team, a couple of interns on our team this summer. This is an app listing page. All the click paths or tap paths or keyboard shortcut paths through the store are optimized to get as many customers as possible to these app listing pages. This is your theater. This is your place to pitch your app. It has an opportunity for an app description. We've used the flip view control, which is another control that's available to you. If you give us multiple assets, we'll use the flip view control. If you give us a single asset, that will be static. But this is your opportunity to show off your app. This is the page that will also list capabilities. Capabilities are ways in which you're plumbing the system hardware. And it's a powerful thing. It can also be abused. In this particular case, Labyrinth is a sensor game. Folks use Labyrinth yet? It's kind of addictive. Don't try and use it now. It's fun. So it's a tilt game. The developer just clapped. The intern just clapped. Nice, Matt. Fantastic. It's a tilt game. And so, of course, it makes sense that it uses sensors. Had Matt and his developer partner declared that Labyrinth also used your geolocation and also you wanted access to your webcam, we might spend a considerable amount of time in the app onboarding process examining why this particular app would need access to the webcam or would need access to the geolocation. It's not tied to the value proposition of the app. It's sketchy. We need to protect against that. Please make sure that your declaration of capabilities really does tie to the value proposition of the app. It will make the app certification process go much more quickly for you and reduce your time to market. It'll be make a lot more sense for customers, and we don't wind up in a situation where we're having to deal with customer concern around an app capability usage. And we have a permissioning model in the system that will make sure that all customers are aware of the particularly sensitive app capabilities that an app declares. You can see that Labyrinth here has both buy and try buttons. It's called our trial APIs. It's called our trial APIs, and so the try button shows up here. And we have a licensing model. All Metro-style apps will have a licensing model. They will be certified, as Alesh said yesterday in the platform big picture session. And we have a licensing model. Calling our trial APIs and calling our transaction engine invokes the licensing model. The licensing model is there for your protection. For the protection of your intellectual property. Couple of factors here. These apps roam. Our licensing model allows for app roaming. It's a per-user licensing model. It's account-based. It's an account-based licensing model. Okay? It's not a machine-based licensing model. However, we're going to put some machine limits on it. Why? Because the user account dormitory@college.com without machine limits becomes the single acquisition point for every app in the catalog and the single roaming point for every app in the catalog. That's not good for your business. If you want that kind of reach, make your app free and you will achieve that kind of reach. Make your app free and you will get the customers. We don't want them abusing our user account model, which is designed to assist in roaming, which is a reasonable expectation in modern software and connected, service-oriented, cloud back-end supported software. So we will allow for roaming. We will put a machine limit on it that just protects your investment in your intellectual property. Okay? So this is an app listing page, and it's really the place that we expect customers to get to as quickly as possible. And I'll talk about discoverability in a couple of minutes, a super important investment that we'll make and an opportunity for you. But the most customers looking at this particular listing will get you the most interest. We, of course, support reviews. We'll run a review service. It's pretty standard. You will have an opportunity to understand what customers are saying about your app. And we know that these are also vectors for abuse. And so we will run the service responsibly in a way that protects against that and helps maintain the integrity of the reviews. Okay? So I want to quickly switch back here and show you, switching back to the slides actually, just how simple a structure this is and how simply we've designed it for consumer discovery. Okay? We showed you the landing page. Panable, category structures, algorithmically generated lists that do promotion about what's popular, and then editorial decisions made by actual human beings with thought and care, but with a goal to promote your outstanding software. And you might try to reverse engineer what the algorithm is that we're using for that promotion. You might think there's something nefarious under there. It's about great apps and apps that are popular. And there's no other business driver behind that. It's you and your business driver that's driving it. We can further promote editorially through topic page constructs. We will take responsibility for the publishing of those, again designed to delight customers, engage customers, and grow your customer base. We have category views that allow people serendipitous discovery, intent-based discovery if they care about a particular category, and filter operators that let them drill down. But we don't burden the structure of the store with lots and lots of hierarchy and pages and levels that make it difficult for customers to tunnel down and tunnel back out. Because this is where we want to get them, and we want the quickest path with the fewest decisions between the customer and the app listing. And that's the store for end user customers in the system. It's that simple. That's its structure. Okay? I mentioned discoverability a minute ago. As catalogs become increasingly diverse, discoverability, of course, becomes increasingly a challenge. And we expect, if we do our jobs right in appealing to you, that we will have a very diverse catalog. The platform certainly supports the creation of that many applications, and the business opportunity certainly supports the submission of an incredibly diverse range of applications. But it will be a challenge for customers to discover them if we don't do our jobs right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to recognize that not everybody's going to come through the store in the way that I just described. Not everybody will be sitting at their Windows-based device, tap on the store, and move through the system. We'll support the search contract, so if they don't tap, they can search and they can get apps. But the point is they're not all going to be sitting on their Windows 8 device or at the store start page when they decide that they might want to look for an app. We will expose all of the app listing pages to the search engines. They will be indexed and they will be crawled. We will take responsibility for search engine optimization of those pages with the goal of getting people who come through search to find your app. We will dynamically generate app listing pages that will be available to search crawlers on the internet. The target of those pages will either be the app listing page in the store, if they're on Win 8, which we will recognize, or a message that says this app is available in Windows 8 if you don't happen to have Windows 8. And we'll let them know if they had 8, they could have the app. So we will take responsibility for discoverability through search engine indexing. Okay? There's another feature I want to show you beyond search engine indexing that we're going to build into IE, that's built actually into IE. And I want to show you that here with a demo of IE10. And we'll go back to this machine here, which is number 4, short-term memory loss. Okay? So in this particular view of the start screen, I've just gone ahead and created what Jensen described yesterday was a secondary tile. And so the secondary tile is going to go to Bing in IE10. There it is, in Bing in IE10. Okay? So this is just the Bing page in IE10. And you'll see down at the bottom, there's a little icon down there. So what IE10 allows you to do is with a little bit of markup that I'll show you in a slide, a couple of lines of XML, you can use the work of the browser to promote your application right in the Chrome. If you have a website and you have an app, a Metro-style app in Win 8, you can use the work of the browser to promote your application right in the Chrome. I tap on the site icon, I tap Get the App, and I'm taken right to the app in Windows. So take advantage of this markup, put it in your web page, and more customers will be able to discover your app. Now, if they don't have the app, this is if they don't have the app, right? If they do have the app, then you'll just go right to that app. And in fact, you have this today on your slates. Don't do it right now. But the Build app itself actually demonstrates this. If you go to the Build website, buildwindows.com, you'll see the site icon. You tap the site icon, you'll actually go to the app. You'll go to the app because it's already on your system. Now, I described discoverability of Metro-style apps. What about discoverability of desktop apps? Antoine showed this in his keynote, and I want to reinforce it. The services that are available in the store around acquisition, around licensing, around trial and transaction, around servicing and telemetry, those are Metro-style. Those are Win8 only, Metro-style app only, tied to the app model and integrated in the system so that the system can behave in ways that customers expect and the system expects. And so we have our arms around the integrity of that process. Desktop apps, however, do get to participate in the promotion service. They do get to participate in discoverability within the store client. Antoine showed you quick and available as a tile in the finance category. If your app meets our desktop app certification requirements, and if your app follows our content appropriateness guidelines, we will create a listing for it as a Win32 or desktop app. It will show up in the store. It can be found through search. It can be promoted. And we will embrace Win32 and desktop app discovery just as we do Metro-style. There are thousands of fantastically important, popular apps that exist today and that will get written, and we will promote them. The platform supports desktop and Metro-style. The store supports promotion and discovery of Metro-style and desktop. We're not going to ask desktop apps to re-engineer their licensing model to fit our Win8 Metro-style model. We're not going to ask them nor require them any more than we would Metro-style apps to use our transaction. And we're not the fulfillment service. Fulfillment happens wherever you, as an ISV with a desktop app, decides. It's your link. You tell us where to go. That's where fulfillment occurs. You control the experience end-to-end from that point forward. We just want to do a great job of making people aware that that desktop app exists. So search engine optimization and app listing discovery via search engines, built-in support in IE10 for discoverability via the site icon, desktop app discovery, all trying to help customers make good decisions about apps. Let's switch back over to this machine, and I will show you the markup really quickly. This is it. So this is just the markup you put in your website. Now your site icon button becomes a link. We will take care of the logic that says whether the app is installed or not. And so it's either a promotional opportunity for you as a website owner to acquire a new customer, or a promotional opportunity for you to just increase your customer engagement by getting them seamlessly to that app on the system. Okay? Discoverability. What can you do to prepare your app? What can you do to begin the process of submission? And this is in addition to figuring out what all this new Win8 app model stuff is and what all this new WinRT is and so forth. The app certification kit for Metro-style apps is available now. It's released in the SDK, and it's available as a tile on your start screen on the devices that we gave you last night. It's the single tool for the technical certification assessment. I talked about 3 parts to our certification process, end to end. One was technical, one was antivirus, anti-malware, and one was content appropriateness. We are giving you the keys to technical certification. The tests that you run in the Windows App Certification Kit are one-for-one the technical certification tests that we will run. Run them offline. Submit your app. We'll run them again because we have to be assured you ran them. But if you're all green offline, you're all green with us. You control the technical readiness of your app in that regard. We trust you with that. It's empowering. It's important from a partnership perspective. And by the way, it should help with efficiency. You can reduce your time to market by running the App Certification Kit offline and debugging offline. And for us, it reduces, of course, the friction in our system in terms of the number of apps that we have to consider. If you leave us to be your debugger alone, we will do that. We have to take responsibility for that on behalf of the end user customer. But we're giving you the opportunity to run these cert tests offline, one-for-one, on your own. And that process can begin as soon as you have your first AppX package. As soon as you have your first app, you can run them and see how you're doing. What are we testing for? App manifest compliance. We need to make sure the apps perform or behave in the way the system expects, And we need to make sure that the information that's contained in that manifest matches what the system expects in terms of information that we display back to the customers in their consideration of that app. Images are everywhere in the system. They're a primary vehicle of engagement. We're doing everything possible in the Win8 user experience to take advantage of images as a way to create customer engagement. Your images need to be of certain sizes and scales, Jensen described them yesterday, in order for us to do a great job of ensuring we have a harmonious system and one that's consistent, but also takes advantage of your creativity in the submission of those assets and how you represent your app in those assets. We're going to make sure you're using platform-supported APIs. System integrity is crucial here. If you're using an API that's not supported in the MetroStyle SDK, then we would recommend there's an SDK, there's an API available for you in the MetroStyle SDK to perform the function that you're trying to perform. If it's a righteous function that you want to perform, there will be a MetroStyle API available for you in the MetroStyle SDK, but we will make sure you're not calling a banned API. And then finally, we're going to test for app reliability and security. In the certification tests, there's additional security tests we're going to perform independently, as I suggested, but there are some basic app reliability and security tests that we're going to provide for you and that are in the app certification kit. So again, we can make sure we have a system that's stable and understood. This is what a result set looks like for the app certification kit. When you run the kit offline and you do everything in compliance, this is what it looks like. So this is your target. This is what you want. Okay? This is good news. If you find yourself in a situation where you failed, and I'll blow that up right here. In this particular case, an unsupported API was called that could get you into an unstable sleep state, and so we want to avoid that. We'll give you the feedback that says, hey, that's not the right API for what you're trying to achieve. If you run this offline, you get the chance to debug this. If you don't run it offline, we will run it, we will hit this failure, and then we will have to communicate back to you, and now we have a loop. We begin the loop again of submission and reconsideration. So we're giving you the app certification kit so you can take responsibility for this directly. Helps you, helps us, helps customers. Can't encourage you to do this enough. Cannot encourage you to do this enough. And in the end, I'll show a slide that has a hands-on lab. So we'll help. If you have questions about doing it, there are folks that are here that will run it with you, do full demos, and help you understand what's contained within it. Run the app certification kit. All right, I want to move to another demo. This is the developer experience. There's a dashboard. It's going to be at dev.windows.com. Right now, it's sort of the coming soon dashboard. But it will light up when we open up for app submission. And this will be the place you return to find out about how your apps are doing in the submission process and also how they're doing in the marketplace. So let's go ahead and show you the developer dashboard. This absolutely fell apart as a button in real time. I'm insured, if anyone in the back is wondering about who's going to pay for that button. Microsoft is paying for it. Okay. My boss is there, right? Microsoft is paying for it. Fantastic. Okay. So here I am at the start screen. So again, I've created a secondary tile, just a deep link to IE. And this is, I pinned this because I'm going to be returning to it over and over again. So let's go ahead and tap here. We'll flip. And now we're at the developer dashboard. Okay? And so at the top, we'll have a set of notifications that let you know how your app is doing in the system. We'll let you know where you are, and we'll let you know when you've been certified. And we've got a couple of apps here, two, Mopod and Labyrinth. These are both on your system, but play along with me for a minute here as I talk about what it would look like if we were submitting this as a developer for the first time. Okay? So Mopod is in the submission process. I, as a developer, have not finished filling out the information I need to, and so I'll show you what that looks like. And then Labyrinth, we've got a couple of versions in the market. We have a couple of versions of Labyrinth that are in the market. So let's have a look at Mopod. This is the submission page. I believe Antoine showed a little bit of this. He selected some price tiers, showed you some information you needed to fill out. These are what you'd expect in order to be able to make an offering into the marketplace, providing the information that helps us understand what you want done with your offering and helps customers understand what their relationship is to that app. At the bottom, you can see there's a set of notes to reviewers. I haven't finished this, so I've made it all the way through this process. I'm at the last step. We've let you know about how much time you should be able to, how many steps are in the process ahead of time so you can plan. But in this particular case, I've stopped a little bit short of filling it out. Notes to reviewers helps us understand if there's anything unique about your app that we need to know in its consideration. An example of that might be a test account. So if I come down here and I say, test content is at test account, at internapps.com. In order to get to test content so we can understand how the service actually works, we might need to provide this to reviewers. We encourage you to do this, again, to increase the efficiency of the submission and certification process, reduce the friction in that process, and go ahead and speed up your time to market. So now I've gone ahead, hey, Mopod, great, I'm done. I can go ahead and submit for certification. You jump to the certification status page. And this is a transparent listing of where you are in the certification process with some notion of how long you should expect this to take. And we understand what the market standards are these days for this kind of submission process. And you can see security tests, compliance, signing and publishing, and release. So now Mopod is ready to go through our system. You can see now at the top notifications have flipped back. The service has returned a status message. And it said now Mopod is in certification, and we will keep that updated for you. Release 1, Mopod is in the system. Labyrinth, as I suggested, and you saw in the notifications at the top, we've prepared a couple of different versions of this app, and it's been in the marketplace for a while. So let's see how we're doing. Let's take a look at the kind of data that we're going to provide. And this is just a sampling of the data that you should expect us to provide to help inform your decisions. And we're incredibly committed to putting this data in your hands to inform not only ways that you can improve your app standing, but the ways that you might make decisions about the next investment you want to make, the next app you might want to go create. And so we have conversion data. Again, Labyrinth was offered for trial, so we're going to give you an idea about how you're doing on consideration, the discoverability of your app, how many folks have downloaded it, in a trial version, and how many of them have gone ahead and bought the full version. And we're doing pretty well here. This looks like a little bit north of 11%, and that's a pretty good conversion rate. And if you go to the in-app purchase talk tomorrow, we'll help you understand a little bit about the size of the opportunity with respect to using in-app purchase. You see referrers, search engine referrals here, again, because we're exposing the app listings to the search engines. If I come down a little bit, we have some download information that's more granular, app purchase information that's more granular, and some depth usage information about the app and the length of session for that app. There's two lines here. It's comparative. We're comparing to other apps in the category. We're going to give you a view to help understand how your app is performing against the norm in that category. Are you performing at the category norm, below the category norm, above the category norm, and why? If it's below the norm, is there something happening with the way the other apps are being offered? Is there a pricing thing going on? Are they all free and you're not? Are you free and they're not? You have an understanding of how you're performing against other apps in the category, so you can look around you and decide whether there are certain methods that should be adopted that are more successful. And other app providers will have a similar opportunity. This is a sample of the data that we're going to be providing in the dashboard to help you understand what your adoption looks like. We're going to have ratings information. Ratings information is going to be provided in an aggregated form here. If you choose to submit your app in many different languages, 108 languages for Windows 8, 108 language opportunities for Windows 8. If you choose to submit your language in any of these 108 languages, you're going to get ratings and you're going to get reviews back potentially in any one of those languages. And of course, your own store client is going to be set to the default settings of your language or your language choosing. And it can be cumbersome to go through 108 different language settings to find out what customers are saying about your app. So we will aggregate them in the Reviews tab here. You will have a view of what any customer has submitted to say about your app. And then you're going to have to figure out how to translate some of that. And we have some Bing translation services we think we can help. Let's take a look at quality. Labyrinth is an HTML and JavaScript app. And so there's not crash data in the traditional sense. We're a C++ app. It might have some bugs. There might be some crashes. We will provide that crash data to you. We will provide the cab so you can download it and get some information about how you debug. Labyrinth, unfortunately, had some JavaScript exceptions when it was first submitted. So we provided those data. The developer, Matt, improved it. The second version has fewer crashes, and then we've introduced some more bugs, some JavaScript exceptions in the third instance here, as we've shown. Maybe it's new features that have some exceptions. Maybe it's regressions. We'll give you the data so you'll be able to figure that out. Okay? We're committed to providing telemetry data about the qualitative aspects of your app so you understand what customers are experiencing, and you don't have to rely on implied or expressed comments as a way to derive what that is. You will be able to see the data here. We will provide it for you. Okay? So that's a look at the developer experience. Let's go ahead back to this machine here. Good. That's the developer dashboard. So how can you learn more in the last few minutes? How can you learn more? I mentioned this next session 123 a number of times, trials and in-app offers. We've got a couple of hands-on labs that are about certification. And of course, there's a bunch of documentation available for you at dev.windows.com right now. Okay? A couple of sessions and some information up about trials and transactions, APIs that are available to you, and a toolkit that's available to you now so you can begin the technical certification part of your app. I want to return to the partnership in closing. I'll reinforce to you the new dimension that we're adding about partnering with you directly on the promotion and acquisition and servicing of your Metro-style apps, supporting discoverability of desktop apps. We're adding new dimension to a partnership that puts us more directly aligned with your best interests with a goal of growing your business at Windows scale. Growing your business at Windows scale. And we're incredibly excited to see what you're going to create and begin pushing it to customers in ways that will delight them. Thank you.